Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS Centenary Year, Syria at 100.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Kampir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight is on the latest coming in on the Russia-Ukraine war as it enters a whole new phase of intensified strikes and diplomatic maneuvering. Ukraine has said it struck an oil refinery in Russia using British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles. Russia, meanwhile, continues the operations across multiple parts of Ukraine. Where do the efforts to end that war stand as the year draws to a close? That's coming up in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, the US strikes ISIS in Nigeria following Donald Trump's warning. We get you the complete story and the latest from on the ground. Is North Korea preparing for war? We tell you why that question is being asked, all that you need to know coming up. All this and more lined up for you. The war between Russia and Ukraine showing no signs of slowing down despite the diplomatic efforts to try and end it. Even on Christmas Day, the two sides continued to trade strikes as the war continued on multiple fronts. Ukraine's military claimed to have struck a big oil refinery in Russia's southern Rostov region. Ukraine used the British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles, it says, to hit Russia's energy site. In fact, residents in a town reported multiple explosions with videos on social media showing thick smoke rising near the residential areas.
Шесть взрывов было. Вот это добрый день в Новошахтинске. Вот это добрый день в Новошахтинске.
In fact, Russian authorities confirmed a fire at an industrial facility, saying a firefighter was injured during emergency operations but stopped short of acknowledging damage to an oil refinery. The strikes coming as Moscow reported continued military advances inside Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry has said that its forces had taken control of another settlement in the Donetsk region and carried out coordinated air, missile and drone strikes across several front lines, targeting military infrastructure and energy facilities.
Я же сказал, что порт, блядь. У нас тут порт есть? Да, блядь. Ебать, прилетела подруга. Это не сам.
Ukraine, meanwhile, said it also hit oil storage tanks at the Russian port of Temryuk. and struck a military airbase in southern Russia. Now, describing the attacks as part of efforts to weaken Moscow's combat facilities and combat capabilities, basically. Now, this is a major seaport on the Black Sea and is vital to Russia's export of oil and petroleum products. And this is why this is significant. It's also one of the important logistical support hubs for the Russian military. And even as the fighting intensified, diplomatic activity continues simultaneously. The president of Ukraine said that he spoke with the U.S. envoy, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, about ending the conflict, describing discussions around what he called realistic and lasting peace. He said follow-up talks were held later in the day between the negotiating teams. And this comes after Zelensky recently unveiled that 20-point draft peace plan, which was agreed on by the US and Ukrainian negotiators reportedly, and is being reviewed by Russia. So that's where things stand. But on the same day, the Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, said Russia is analyzing the peace proposal. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman has told a press briefing on Thursday that negotiations with the United States are progressing slowly but steadily. Zakharova also accused the Western European states of torpedoing the diplomatic progress. She also added that Russia is ready to formally state in a written document that it has no intention to attack NATO or EU countries. And on Friday, the Kremlin said Putin's top foreign policy aide, Yuri Ushakov, held a call with the U.S. administration after Moscow received an updated U.S. proposal on a potential peace deal, although there were no signs that a breakthrough had been reached. Now, here's the context. In the past, Russia has insisted that it is prepared to continue the fighting in Ukraine if no peace deal is reached, saying that it is confident that it can achieve its war aims through military means. But while Moscow has made progress on the battlefield, Ukrainian forces have in recent days pushed Russian troops out of the city of Kupiansk in the Kharkiv region, along with hitting the energy sites in Russia. To what extent will these battlefield developments actually play their part when it comes to the peace deal talks remains to be seen. For now, all eyes are on Zelensky's meeting with Donald Trump on Sunday at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, where they will be discussing the security guarantees for Ukraine. Washington says it carried out airstrikes against suspected Islamic State targets in northwest Nigeria, a move that U.S. President Donald Trump described as powerful and deadly. And in a video released by the U.S. Department of War, showing a missile firing from a military vessel towards the region. Take a look. The U.S. military said the operation targeted camps they believe ISIS operates in Sokoto state, near Nigeria's border with Niger. Visuals from Sokoto showing residents examining the twisted metal that appears to be debris from a projectile, while flames burn in the distance, lighting up the night sky. And in a post on social media, the U.S. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, thanked the Nigerian government for support and cooperation. And most importantly, said there is, quote-unquote, more to come. So that's the message at this point. Now, these strikes took place on Christmas Day, following Trump's warning on social media, remember, that the U.S. would act if Nigeria did not stop attacks on Christians. In his Truth Social post, the American president said Nigeria must halt the killing of Christians or face U.S. military action. Guns a-blazing, quote-unquote. Nigeria foreign minister, meanwhile, said the country provided the U.S. with intelligence on, quote-unquote, jihadists before the Christmas Day raids. While in a statement on social media, Nigeria's foreign ministry said the strike was carried out as part of the ongoing security cooperation with the United States that led intelligence sharing and strategic coordination to target the groups in northwestern parts of the country. Nigeria's population is split between Muslims living primarily in the north and Christians in the south. The armed groups Nigerian government claims target both religious communities. And earlier today itself, Trump said the Department of War executed carefully planned strikes aimed at ISIS positions, his comments tracing back to a November 1 post ordering preparations for possible intervention. Trump has previously warned that Christians in Nigeria face what he called an existential threat that amounted to genocide, according to him, and blamed, quote-unquote, radical Islamists for it. And the US counter-terrorism officials reportedly say ISIS in West Africa emerged in 2015 after Boko Haram pledged allegiance to the Islamic State. And the group routinely attacks military units, local defense volunteers, government sites, and often targets civilians. Officials have not identified which faction was hit in this latest operation, but security analysts believe the strikes most likely targeted the Lakurava group, an ISIS-linked network that has recently expanded its presence and violence across Sokoto and the neighboring areas. Analysts saying the group controls pockets of territory in northwest Nigeria and moves easily across the border into Niger. This operation comes as the US military also intensifies pressure on ISIS globally. Just last week, remember, American forces carried out large-scale strikes in Syria after a suspected ISIS attack killed 3 Americans. Has Iran's supreme leader finally given the nod for the bomb? That question has taken a whole new level of urgency after the 12-day Iran-Israel war in the month of June, a war that damaged Iran's civil nuclear sites, exposed its defenses, and also forced a reckoning in Tehran. And now Israel is saying that Iran is stockpiling missiles on a large scale. And this comes ahead of a crucial Trump-Netanyahu meeting on Monday. Our next report getting you the complete story.
The 12-day war between Iran and Israel damaged key Iranian civil nuclear sites in Iran, including Natanz and Fordo. First, the Israeli jets and then American bombers targeted the sites deep inside Iran. Tehran lost scientists, infrastructure and prestige, but US officials say its nuclear program was set back by only months. Despite that, Washington says that Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has not formally authorized a nuclear weapons program. Washington maintains that Iran is not currently building a bomb and that the program suspended in 2003 remains unapproved. But there is a shift underway. A fresh US intelligence warned that a long-standing taboo in Iran against even discussing nuclear weapons is breaking down, empowering hardliners who argue that only a nuclear deterrent can protect the regime. Claims from Iranian opposition groups and more recently a report from Italian Institute for International Political Studies suggest Khomeini may have quietly authorized work on compact nuclear warheads for ballistic missiles. Just before the war, Iran held over 440 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, the highest level ever achieved by a non-nuclear weapon state and just short of bomb grade. The war appears to have changed Iran's strategic calculus. Its air defenses failed, only its missiles worked. Iranian missiles targeted Israeli cities. The much famed Iron Dome failed to intercept the Iranian missile salvos. Just a week back, the spokesman for Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said the country has made significant nuclear advances and that developing an atomic bomb would be very easy. However, he asserts that would happen only if Tehran chose to pursue nuclear weapons. Inside Iran, the debate is now public. Lawmakers are calling for a change in defense doctrine. Senior advisors have spoken of modifying Iran's nuclear policy if an existential threat emerges, despite a fatwa that bans nuclear weapons. For now, IAEA inspectors remain locked out of Iran's most sensitive sites, and questions linger over where Iran has moved its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. So the question tonight is no longer about capability, it is about intent, and whether Ali Khamenei has decided that Iran's survival now demands the bomb. Israel insists that Iranian capabilities should be nipped in the bud. Netanyahu shared this image showing himself inside a cockpit of B-52 bomber with Trump. All eyes are now on the crucial Trump-Bibi meeting in Washington on Monday. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
North Korea shifting gears to war footing. Kim Jong-un ordering a rapid surge in missile output. And this comes just a day after showcasing the nuclear-powered submarine across the border, South Korea and its ally, America, watching the moves very closely.
Tension sharpens on the Korean peninsula. Kim Jong-un orders a dramatic military drive. Missiles and submarines. North Korea is gearing up for the next chapter. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un orders a rapid increase in missile production. Throughout 2026, Kim toured munitions factories, which shows a hall filled with massive missile parts. Kim directed expanded production capacity for missiles and artillery shells, with plans for new facilities to meet prospective requirements of the armed forces. On Wednesday, these images released by state media showed an 8,700-ton nuclear-powered submarine hull at a shipyard, putting it in the same league as some American fast-attack submarines. Pyongyang calls it a strategic guided missile submarine that could be armed with powerful weapons. The unveiling underlines Pyongyang's push to modernize its navy and add another layer to its deterrent. Regionally, the moves are landing in choppy waters. The U.S. military stationed in South Korea has conducted a steel rain live-fire drill with new multiple rocket launchers. Washington is also backing Seoul's ambition to join the club of nations operating nuclear-powered submarines, adding another layer of undersea competition. North Korea has sent troops, artillery shells, missiles and long-range rocket systems to support Russian forces in its war against Ukraine. West says that in exchange for Pyongyang's military support, Russia has provided North Korea with financial assistance, military technology, and supplies of food and energy. Analysts say Kim's missile push and nuclear submarine reveal are calibrated both to reinforce his negotiating leverage and to counter what he sees as encirclement at sea, particularly the emerging U.S.-South Korea nuclear submarine cooperation he has condemned as an offensive act. For now, each new test firing, factory upgrade, and joint drill deepen a cycle in which both sides describe their steps as defensive. Yet every move leaves the region more heavily armed, more closely watched, and more on edge.
And before we go any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. Why is the interstellar comet 3I Atlas stunning scientists all over again? We tell you more in just a bit. As Turkey detains over 100 Islamic State suspects, we tell you all that you need to know. Gold and silver jump to record highs. What does that mean for you? All this and more coming up. Our next story is from the West Bank, where violence by Israeli settlers continues to escalate. The latest wave of attacks took place when a Palestinian family was reportedly attacked by a group of masked men. Palestinian authorities saying the attack took place in the town of Asamu in the south of the West Bank. And according to officials, a group of masked men broke into a family home during the night, damaging property and attacking the family's livestock. The attackers also smashed a door and a window. They even released gas inside the home. 3 children, all under the age of 4, were taken to the hospital after suffering breathing problems. One of them was a 6-month-old baby who remains hospitalized. 3 sheep were killed. Several others were injured. Security camera footage shared by the Palestinian officials showing 5 masked men, some carrying batons, approaching and entering the property. Other video appearing to show the attackers striking sheep inside a stable. Photos from the aftermath showing broken glass, a shattered front door, damaged cars, dead animals.
The settlers entered from this side. From the direction of the Susia settlement, they broke the door of the house, broke the window. They make a hole in the door and sprayed gas through it, entered the storerooms, started slaughtering the sheep, broke the cameras, flattened the car tires. That's what they did.
The Israeli police meanwhile confirmed that 5 Israeli settlers were arrested in connection with the incident. The police saying the suspects are being investigated for trespassing and damaging property. Palestinian officials saying this was the second attack on the same family in less than 2 months. In fact, they describe it as part of a broader pattern of settler attacks targeting Palestinian civilians and their livelihoods. The United Nations reports that such attacks have increased sharply in recent months, with dozens recorded during the olive harvest season alone. The incident comes as Israel continues to expand Jewish settlements in the West Bank. A move Palestinians say further undermines the possibility of a future Palestinian state. Shifting focus now to Lebanon, where Israel says it has eliminated a senior Iranian commander. In a statement, the IDF has said that their forces killed Hossein Mahmoud Mashhad al-Jawari, whom they describe as a central figure in the Unit 840 of Iran's Quds forces. And according to the Israeli military, he helped coordinate attacks originating from both Syria as well as Lebanon. A report by the Jerusalem Post claiming that he was a highly professional intelligence agent. The IDF says the operation took place near a municipality in Lebanon located around 40 kilometers from the capital. Around 60 kilometers, beg your pardon, 60 kilometers from the capital. Israel also released aerial footage that it claims shows a precision strike hitting a vehicle and killing the man. According to the IDF, he participated in operations directed at Israel and its security forces. Lebanon, meanwhile, confirmed that 3 Israeli airstrikes took place in the country on Christmas Day, leading to 3 fatalities. However, these strikes were different from the one that Israel claimed led to the assassination of the Israeli commander. Israel said that one of these strikes in southern Lebanon near the border with Israel was a targeted strike against the Hezbollah fighter. And in the latest, the Israeli military announced a series of strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, which included weapon depots and a training complex. Despite a US-brokered ceasefire reached in November 2024, clashes and airstrikes have continued. In fact, the latest strikes appear to be part of a broader pattern. According to the Lebanese government, over the past 13 months, Israeli actions there have killed roughly 340 people, and as per reports in Arabic media, Israeli military activity has surged through December, averaging about 6 strikes a day. Roughly 1 every 4 hours. Israel says these strikes are aimed at preventing Hezbollah from rebuilding its capabilities. In a shocking shake-up, China has dismissed 8 senior officials from its top advisory body, including 4 of the country's most powerful defense executives. Leaders who built weapons, satellites, aerospace programs, now sidelined amid whispers of corruption. And according to the state news agency, 8 members of the country's top advisory body, the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, have been removed. Among them, 4 high-profile executives from the military-industrial sector. And these are not just any ordinary officials. They are leaders who reportedly shaped China's aerospace, satellite defense capabilities for decades. And now it seems they have fallen from grace. And how? The CPPCC, which is often described as Beijing's top political advisory body, officially revoked their memberships on Wednesday. And this is a serious move. In China, removal from that body is rarely just administrative. It's a huge signal. Typically signals suspicions of corruption, disciplinary violations, or even something even worse. Let's just start off with the defense executives. Jiang Guo, reportedly a towering figure in China's aerospace industry, yet he was removed, stepping down abruptly months before the standard retirement age for executives at his level. Then there is Zhang Dongchen, who once led the China Satellite Network Group. Zhang also gone, and that list goes on. Zheng Yi, Fan Yushan, both veterans of China's ground-based weapons giant and leaders at China Electronics Corporation. They were also stripped of their advisory roles. Zheng and Fan were also involved in producing tanks, strategic weapons, critical military communications technology. Together, they wielded enormous influence, and now they are out as well. Ma Zhengwu, general manager of China Rongtong Asset Management Group, when it was founded in 2019, was also among those dismissed from that body. But it's not just the defense sector which is feeling the heat. 2 state-owned power executives, Li Guoye and Yu Peigen, were also removed. They played key roles in China's energy and nuclear power sectors. Even the medical sector was not spared. Wang Xingguan, former president of Wuhan's Zhongnan Hospital, and a prominent figure during China's COVID-19 response, was also dismissed. His hospital, in fact, ran one of the mega quarantine facilities in Wuhan in the year 2020, gaining nationwide attention. And yet, he also could not escape this purge. Now, these developments are huge. The removals come amid Xi Jinping's sweeping anti-corruption campaign, already claiming dozens of top generals and senior executives in the People's Liberation Army and its affiliated companies. The message is quite clear. No sector is off limits. No one, no matter how influential or big, is immune. And experts say this is about more than just corruption. It's about consolidating control. By removing top executives and military-linked leaders, Xi Jinping can basically tighten his grip on the critical sectors like aerospace, defense, energy, and technology. It's a warning to others. Loyalty and obedience are just as important as expertise. Some of these officials have not been seen in public for months. And there is no official word on whether any criminal investigations are actually underway, but the political message could not be louder. These are men who built China's defense and aerospace backbone. They guided some of China's most ambitious projects. And now they have been sidelined in this dramatic shakeup. For the world, these moves may have broader implications. China's defense and technology sectors are integral to its global ambitions, after all. And so any changes at the top could affect military programs, also satellite initiatives, and even international business deals. Today is the day after Christmas, and if you're on a year-end break, you are busy spending time with your family and friends, making the most of your time away from work, perhaps. Let's just tell you a bit about the significance of the day after Christmas. apart from the fact that it means unwinding and perhaps taking some rest after the festivities of Christmas Day. The day after Christmas, the 26th of December, also known as Boxing Day or Offering Day, is a holiday celebrated on the 26th of December, the day after Christmas Day. It was once a day to donate gifts to those in need. It is now very much a part of the entire process of celebrating Christmas and overall the Christmas festivities. Boxing Day is believed to have originated in the Victorian times. Basically, the generally accepted theory is rooted in Victorian England. President Donald Trump, remember, signed an executive order proclaiming the 26th of December a federal holiday in 2025, but some countries already recognize the date as its own holiday. It basically gives people not only another day off from work, but also serves as a day where the gift giving, the eating, the merrymaking, festivities can continue. Also, why exactly is it called Boxing Day? A major reason being boxes, hence Boxing Day. Basically, gifts given to the poor, those in need, others traditionally boxed up. So the word boxing coming from the box packaging. Not just that, the boxes used to collect coins in churches were opened up and the money was given to the needy. Now, whether or not you are off from work this Christmas season, the idea is to make the most of it in whichever way you can. The call to bring Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's ashes home has returned to the national spotlight. The freedom fighter's family has appealed to the Indian president to help repatriate the remains to India. In a letter dated December 24, the family urged the Indian president to take additional steps to honor his contribution to the freedom struggle. Netaji's daughter, in fact, along with several relatives, have repeatedly over the years, remember, requested the Indian government to bring his remains back from Tokyo. The family's letter also highlighted the symbolic date of October 21, 2025, the 80th anniversary of Netaji's provisional government of Azad Hind. The letter further backed plans for an INA memorial in New Delhi to honor soldiers and echo Netaji's Delhi Chalo call. The family urged the president to take action so that his legacy remains alive for future generations of India. On to Israel now. It's growing increasingly concerned about Turkey's expanding military role in Syria. Western intelligence sources saying Turkey in recent weeks has been trying to deploy radar systems inside Syria. If installed, those radars could significantly limit Israel's ability to operate freely in Syrian airspace. Now, the Israeli officials fear the radars would be able to detect Israeli Air Force activity, including strikes in Syria and flights that use Syrian airspace as a route towards Iran. And this could complicate Israel's military operations across the region. According to reports, Turkey plans to formally transfer the radar systems to the Syrian military as a way to support the al-Shara government. However, Turkish personnel would continue to operate the systems, giving Ankara direct access to the intelligence collected. Israel has already shown its concern through military action. Shortly after the fall of former President Bashar al-Assad last year, Israel carried out airstrikes on several Syrian military bases. Israeli officials said the strikes were meant to send out a clear message that it would not accept any move that threatens its freedom of action in the air. Israeli security officials, meanwhile, have warned that a permanent Turkish military presence, including air bases or drones, would be seen as a direct threat. Ankara has been deepening its ties with Damascus, remember. This week itself, Turkey's foreign minister, defense minister, intelligence chief met with Syria's new president in Damascus. And Israel is closely monitoring these developments, assessing their impact on regional security. Amid all of this, the war of words has also intensified. This week, a pro-government Turkish newspaper called Israel Turkey's #1 enemy. And this came shortly after the Israeli Prime Minister met with the leaders of Greece and Cyprus and warned against regional powers seeking to revive old empires. The Turkish president, meanwhile, responded strongly, saying Turkey would defend its rights and criticized Israel over the war in Gaza. As regional alliances shift and military postures change, analysts warn that the growing Israel-Turkey standoff in Syria could add another layer of instability to an already volatile region. And Al-Shara has announced a major change to its currency as part of efforts to rebuild the economy after years of war and isolation. New year, new banknotes for Syria, as the country will start replacing the old banknotes with the new ones. The announcement was made by the governor of Syria's central bank, who said that the swap would be carried out in an orderly and controlled manner, with details on locations and deadlines to be released soon. But this move is crucial. It comes as Ahmad al-Shara tries to revive the state institutions and restore the confidence in the economy after more than a decade of conflict, sanctions and financial collapse. In fact, officials saying the new currency is meant to signal a fresh start for the country, following the fall of the former president Bashar al-Assad. Assad fled the country in December 2024, remember, after the opposition forces seized Damascus, ending decades of his family's rule there. The Syrian pound has lost most of its value since the war started in 2011. Many Syrians now need large stacks of cash just to pay for basic items, and authorities say the new banknotes will remove 2 zeros from the current currency, but will not change its real value. The central bank insists the swap will not fuel inflation, despite concerns from some bankers and economists. The announcement also follows a recent decision by Washington to permanently lift sanctions on Syria, and this could open the door to foreign investment and economic recovery. Officials describe the currency change as a symbol of new economic era for Syria as the country works to stabilize and move forward after years of devastation. Investors continue to cheer precious metals after the Christmas break, with gold and silver in a true Santa rally, as it's being called. Extending their historic surge, both precious metals rose to fresh record highs once again on Friday. The yellow and white metal have been breaching new milestones almost on a daily basis this month. Investors continue to shelter in gold and silver despite the significant price surge this year. And on Friday, gold gained over 1.2% to a new peak of above $4,350 an ounce. Silver rallied more than 4.5% to above $75 for the first time ever. The two precious metals have surged for the 5th straight session. Silver's nearly 150% surge, in fact, has far outpaced gold's remarkable 70% rise this year, escalating the global tensions, a weak dollar, and a weak dollar and historic squeeze in gold and silver stocks since October have kept the precious metals well bid. Silver's recent advance has also been buoyed by speculative inflows and lingering supply dislocations across major trading hubs following a historic short squeeze in the month of October. And on Friday, the price of the white metal in Shanghai was higher than in New York. That pricing gap was driven by China's decision to curb the exports of the white metal in the new year. London's vaults have seen significant inflows since the squeeze in October, but much of the world's available silver remains in New York. Beijing is mindful of the risk of US tariffs and trade restrictions on the white metal, despite a truce. China's record low inventory has been a significant reason for silver's breathtaking rally. In recent years, the global silver market is running a substantial shortage to the tune of 400 million ounces annually. And this cheer has spread to other precious metals as well. It's contagious, it seems. Platinum advanced 4.8%, approaching a high of $2,382. $2,382 hit on Wednesday. Based on the historic data available, that was the highest since at least 1987. Palladium was up 4%. This holiday season, people in California are grappling with nature's fury. Torrential rainfall swept through the region, triggering flash floods and mudslides, leaving 3 people dead. In the aftermath of the storm, residents trudging through the damaged roads and the murky waters, bringing life to a standstill in the southern region. Emergency responders conducted several rescue operations as the floodwaters rose, inundating vehicles, damaging several houses. The swift response was also well praised by the locals.
So, I mean, like 8 people or something involved in all of it. And that, to me, is the beauty of this town. Wrightwood is an incredible community. And I thought what my son said about this all happening on Christmas was really poignant. But this community, whether it's floods or fires or now this, they really pull together and they're out helping each other.
The local administration has declared a state of emergency in Los Angeles and other Southern Californian counties, but it wasn't enough to contain the devastating deluge as the families stranded in the submerged houses saw their resources dwindle, holiday cheers washed away. Forecasters even issued a red tornado warning for a small area of east central Los Angeles County amid the intense thunderstorm activity in the area. Although rainfall eased on Wednesday night, officials warn that another wave of the storm system is expected to hit the region, raising concerns about renewed flooding and mudslides. In Turkey, authorities have taken dramatic action ahead of the holiday season. More than 100 suspected members of the Islamic State group have been arrested in a massive counter-terrorism sweep. In fact, the Turkish prosecutors, saying 115 suspects to be precise, have been detained so far. They were among 137 suspects identified by intelligence as planning attacks during Christmas and New Year celebrations. Officials say the arrests follow warnings that the militants were preparing violent operations targeting civilians. Remember, Turkey shares a long border with Syria, nearly 900 kilometers, where jihadist groups remain active. That proximity has made the region a key concern for the Turkish security forces. And this operation comes shortly after a deadly attack in Syria on December 13, where a lone ISIS gunman, remember, killed 2 US soldiers and an American civilian. Back in Turkey, was orchestrating suicide attacks targeting civilians in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkey, and Europe. Security experts saying these arrests show the continued global reach of the Islamic State and also the need for constant vigilance, especially during the holiday season. And for Turkey, this operation is part of a broader effort, basically, to prevent attacks before they can actually happen and to send out a strong message to these networks operating in the region. Remember, Turkey has been hit by several major attacks claimed by ISIS, including an attack on a Roman Catholic church in Istanbul during a Sunday Mass in January 2024. Before that, a shooting took place at a nightclub. This was in 2017. It killed dozens of people. The arrest coming days after the US, under the Trump administration, launched widespread military strikes in Syria to eliminate the Islamic State members and weapon sites, in retaliation for the ambush that killed the US troops and the American civilian earlier this month. In recent days, in fact, Syrian security forces have also launched operations against ISIS, including 2 raids on the outskirts of the Syrian capital. In those raids, Syrian officials said Taha al-Zubi, identified as the Islamic State leader in the Damascus area, was captured, and Mohammad Shahade, a senior Islamic State commander in Syria, was reportedly killed. Earlier this week itself, top Turkish officials reportedly visited Syria to discuss counter-terrorism efforts against ISIS, among other aspects. It came from beyond the stars, it swept past our planet in silence, and even now it refuses to behave like any comet that we know about. We are talking about the 3I Atlas. It continues to make news. New pictures now revealing something bizarre, baffling astronomers all over again. Take a look.
It was a fleeting visitor, but one that left scientists wide-eyed. Comet 3I Atlas, an interstellar object traveling through our solar system, has revealed a bizarre wobbling jet structure in a tail that points toward the sun. That's right, a sun-facing tail, something almost never seen. As it closed in on the sun, up to 210 million kilometers away, Atlas transformed dramatically, its coma fanning outward, forming an anti-tail that seemed to defy the physics of sunlight. But the surprise came next. Within that anti-tail, scientists saw jets, narrow plumes of gas and dust shifting and wobbling every 7 hours 45 minutes. The pattern suggests a rotating, spinning nucleus completing one full turn roughly every 15 hours. That rapid motion means the comet's icy heart is no serene traveler. It's a tumbling relic from another world. The discovery matters because 3I Atlas is no ordinary comet. It's only the 3rd object ever found to arrive here from another star system, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. 3I Atlas chemistry and movement offer astronomers a rare chance to study how comets form around distant suns. Atlas made its closest approach to Earth on December 19th, passing within about 270 million kilometers, which is nearly twice the Earth-Sun distance. Now it is heading back into deep space, never to return. Yet its strange spinning jets will keep researchers busy for years. A brief visitor, perhaps but one, rewriting the way we understand the cosmic dust of other worlds.
Let's now tell you about a rare and remarkable sighting. One of the world's most elusive wildcats has been caught on camera. Not once, but 3 times. Deep inside Malaysia's forests, the flat-headed cat, a species so rare that it's seldom seen even by experts, has been recorded roaming through the forest reserve on the island of Borneo there. Conservationists saying these images offer a rare glimmer of hope for a breed that is fast disappearing from the wild. Take a look. As the use of social media by children continues to stir a debate around the world and a lot of concern, King Charles sent out a timely reminder on the occasion of Christmas. In his annual Christmas message recorded at the Westminster Abbey in London, he suggested that we all could benefit from a digital detox to allow our souls to renew.
To this day, in times of uncertainty, these ways of living are treasured by all the great faiths and provide us with deep wells of hope, of resilience in the face of adversity, peace through forgiveness, simply getting to know our neighbors, and by showing respect to one another, creating new friendships. Indeed, as our world seems to spin ever faster, our journey may pause to quieten our minds. In T.S. Eliot's words, at the still point of the turning world, and allow ourselves to renew.
Now, it's worth noting here that digital detox for children has become a reality even at the school level in many countries around the world. At present, 40% of global education systems have varying levels of bans and restrictions on the usage of cell phones in schools. Some of the prominent countries to ban cell phone usage, including Israel, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Sweden, Brazil, even South Korea. Recently, Australia became the first country to specifically crack down on children's use of social media. Remember, those under 16 have been banned from as many as 10 major social media platforms, including YouTube, Meta, TikTok. These companies have to ensure that existing accounts of children are deleted and no new account is set up, failing which they will be liable to pay a fine of up to 45 million Australian dollars. The question is such a ban on the cards in India as well? A recent court order mulls over exactly that. A public interest litigation was filed in the Madras High Court, calling for internal service providers to provide a parental window service, since pornographic content is available to young children. The Madras High Court was not satisfied that the authorities are discharging their responsibilities adequately. It observed that children are highly vulnerable while using the internet, thereby putting a bigger responsibility on the parents. It also urged the government of India to consider enacting a legislation similar to that of Australia's under 16 social media ban. Until such a law is passed, as no timeline has been fixed as such for the government of India to act, a concrete plan to perhaps wean children away from digital devices remains a distant dream. It's a winter wonderland in one of the world's largest deserts in China's Xinjiang region. A ski resort on the southern rim of a desert has been transformed into a seasonal ice and snow park, drawing visitors eager to experience skiing amid the desert landscapes and boosting winter tourism in the region. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gampi, signing off. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good weekend.
Where darkness hides behind every corner.
where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one. From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Syria at 100.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital